Welcome, folks. Welcome to the Political Goat, and I'm your host, Uncle Felix. Um, it's still going crazy ever since the election day. I mean, here we are, weeks after. We still don't have a winner decided by the Constitution, although the mainstream media will have you believe that it is Joe Biden. And obviously, it's going to be an uh, uphill battle for Trump if he is going to pull this out. He's going to have to rely on the court system to do so. But he is going through all the proper channels, which brings me to the other point of the nonsense, or I should say, the non-story that the media is pushing, and that non-story is that there won't be a peaceful handover, a peaceful transition of power if or when Trump loses. He has stated all along that there will be. Even Secretary of State Pompeo has says whoever wins will hand over, or there will be a peaceful transition. So I don't understand. It's a non-story, obviously, and also it's uh, it's politically expedient on their part. The reason they're trying to push this whole president-elect thing, and and push the media into saying hurry up and concede and all that things, because that also puts pressure on the justice system, right? Because obviously these judges, they're human. They're going to take all this into consideration. Like how do I rule um, in favor of ripping, the presidency away from the quote unquote president elect Biden. But obviously that's not the case, because if you follow and adhere to the Constitution, he's not yet the president elect. He won't be until at least December 14th, and until then, President Trump has every right to pursue all different avenues that he sees fit. Um, to get the ruling that he, or get the outcome that he's looking for. So this thing is still contested. Is it an upward battle? Yeah, of course, of course it is. Um, but has it been decided? No, it has not. And I'm confident that we'll see the picture get clearer within the next week or so, because the clock is ticking. So if President Trump is going to, you know, make the case, he has to make it very soon, and it's going to be left up to the court systems with that. Um, but the other thing I also wanted to touch on is this whole Georgia Senate race, because right now all eyes are there, and for good reason. Um, because currently the Republicans hold a 50-48 seat lead in the Senate. But there's two seats still up for grabs, and they both happen to be in Georgia, and and of course they're going to be runoff elections in January 5th, I believe. So that's going to determine the fate of the Senate, and quite possibly the fate of the country, and to see what direction it goes in. Because now you have, uh, if we do have a President Biden, we already know he has control of the House, because the Democrats control the House by a slim margin, by the way, because the Republicans won. They flipped 13 seats, believe it or not, in the election, which nobody saw coming. I saw it coming because I call the red wave, but all the quote unquote experts didn't see that coming. So they flipped 13 seats. So Nancy Pelosi has a very slim margin in the House, but it is a margin. It is a majority. Um, and now the Senate, if he can control the Senate, that means now the Democrats will be able to, push through any policies they want, um, you know, without any sort of interference, because they'll just go right through the House and then right through the Senate. So the Senate is there for potentially a block for the Republican Party, who is not going to want to see Democrats, push their agenda through. Uh, so we'll see. It's going to be very interesting. And so one of the things I did want to talk about, because all eyes again are on the Georgia race, is one of the candidates there. His name is Reverend Raphael Warnock. For those of you who don't know, he's a 51-year-old pastor. He's actually the senior pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church. If that doesn't sound familiar, it should, because that's actually the same church that Martin Luther King Jr. was a senior pastor at. So it's a historically um, very important church in Georgia, and so he has a lot of how should I say? I guess power with that position, a lot of influence, over the black community and over the religious or the Christian community in that section of Georgia. That being said, he's not without his controversy. I mean, and one of the things I wanted to focus on today is one of the quotes that he said in one of his sermons. The sermon took place back in 2011, and now, as we know, as I'm explaining to you, obviously, there's going to be a lot of scrutiny in this race. So all eyes are on this pastor and as well as the other candidates. And so one of the things they're bringing up is a sermon from back in 2011, where he is quoted as saying, "Nobody can serve God and military." So now that's obviously controversial in itself, because I'm sure, like me, I'm sure a bunch of people who do serve, who have served in the military or are serving in the military and also serve God. I don't think the two have to be exclusive. I think it's silly to suggest so. I do think it goes along with his radical politics. Um, uh, you know, which is anti-military, and you can actually tell, obviously, by that quote. I mean, he's a reverend, so obviously he believes he's serving God, and so he's anti-military because he's telling you that he you cannot serve military and God at once, and I'm I'm calling BS on that. Um, and one of the people I want to bring in to not talk about the politics of it, but to talk about the spiritual part of it is a good friend of mine, and you guys all know him very well. His name is Wesley Pennington. I mean, the guy wears a ton of hats. Today, he's going to put on his pastor hat, and I'm going to have him, give his thoughts on that. Because if you don't know, he also served in the military. I think in the 82nd Airborne Division. But I'll have him, speak to that more specifically, and also about this quote that Raphael Warnock gave during a sermon. And that title of that sermon was actually called "When Truth Meets Power," back in 2011. You can do your own Google searches and bring it up. I found a little clip of it on YouTube, but I'm sure there's some longer versions out there. But without any further ado, I'm going to bring on Pastor West. Hey, Wes, how's it going, man?
What's happening, Felix? Uncle,
Uh,
going on?
Nothing much, nothing much. You ready for turkey? Actually, before we get into this, I wanted to ask you. It's gotta feel funny, um, not playing football or coaching a game this Turkey Day.
Yeah, especially for us, in us Northman Mounties, last 2 years, we've been playing in the state championship game, and today is actually the year ago today
Mm-hmm.
we won the state champion, which is this football right here. That you see over my head.
Yep.
So yeah, and then we get ready for Turkey Day. Definitely many, many, many years. Just it's tradition to have a
Yeah. I mean, either playing or coaching or
yeah,
something.
yeah,
It feels funny. It feels empty. You know what I mean? Uh,
natural.
I know the last few years, because my kids go to Hendrick, and unfortunately they don't have a Turkey Day game. They took that away from them years ago, and they could never find a replacement. So he's not missing that aspect of it. Hopefully, this all comes to a head and we play in February or March. But I don't know now, because I'm sure you heard they pushed the winter sports now back to January.
Yeah, I heard.
So did they say anything to you? How does that affect? Are they going to push back football now, or have they said anything?
They haven't said anything. From what I'm hearing, it's going to be a shortened winter season.
Mm-hmm.
So they're going to shorten the winter season, and obviously, if we play football, it's going to be a shortened football season.
Yep.
So they're just going to try and squeeze it in. It's going to be interesting to see what happens. I just hope for sake of the seniors, that they get to play their last senior year.
Yeah. My youngest one, he's a basketball player too, so he's not too happy that they're pushing the basketball season back on him now. But
Yeah.
hopefully all this stuff will eventually put an end. We got the vaccine coming out, right? So hopefully
Yeah,
that'll
hopefully everybody gets their shots and we can go play some football.
Yeah, exactly. But all right, so back to the what I wanted to talk about. So, what are your thoughts on what Reverend Raphael Warnock said there? Because obviously you served in the military, you obviously served the Lord. Can you serve both?
I mean, absolutely,
Hmm.
absolutely, you can serve both, and you know, um, hesitant to comment on what he said. I didn't hear the whole sermon,
Hmm.
but hearing that little clip, it's kind of taken out of context. That you can't serve God and serve the military,
Hmm.
because that scripture in Matthew 6, verse 24, it's in reference to material things. It's in reference to putting material things above God.
Hmm.
Uh, it
Yeah,
says,
and that's understandable. You know what I mean? But he clearly he says that, and then he comes back around and he says the military as well, which is I think what got everybody up in arms. I mean, and one of the things I think he also was mammon or mammon, something like that. And I was telling you, I had to look it up actually. And like you said, that makes more sense because the evil material things, the worldly possessions. You know
right.
what I mean? That we're all unfortunately guilty of sometimes.
Yeah, I can tell you the truth that from being in the 82nd Airborne Division, having served in a Gulf War, there's a lot of Christians, a lot of people who believe in God that serve in the military, and actually, being in the military is an act of service.
Hmm.
So definitely, you can definitely serve God and be in the military as an act of service. I guess if you were to put the military somehow as your shrine and put it above God, then that would fall somehow into this category. But in reference to being a member of the armed forces as an act of service to your country, you obviously can do that and serve God at the same time. As a matter of fact, Scripture, if we look at Scripture, there's plenty of battles and plenty of times when he sent men into battles and into armies and into war, for his purpose. So, that's just kind of a no-brainer. I don't without listening to the whole sermon, to
Hmm.
understand where he was coming from with it. You know, it's hard to understand what he was saying, but hearing that snippet, which I'm sure it's being played over and over again, that is a misquote.
Yeah, I mean they're talking that these two races are going to see over half a billion dollars being dumped into this race because that's how big this race is, and obviously it's not all coming from Georgia voters. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of outside interest.
A lot at
um,
stake, man. A lot at
yeah,
stake.
yeah.
Hey,
So
if I could share kind of a revelation I received a couple years back,
mhm,
right? And so you would know this. You've coached with me, and we've before every game we pray.
mhm,
Like even when I was playing football, before every game I'd pray. I just pray for my health and pray for the other team's health and just some success during the course of the game. And over the years, and again, you've been with me. We've had some success, we've had some failures.
mhm,
And in the time of failures, always felt like maybe God wasn't listening. And in the time of success, hey, God's on my side.
yeah,
Right. And then one day, I was just kind of in prayer and, you know, uh, just kind of was dropped on my spirit that, God has sons on the other team too.
mhm,
I was like, are you kidding? Really? And I'm
yeah,
not his favorite. He's not picking me. And I'm like, so what does God do when he has kids on both teams? Well, he
mhm,
just watches. He watches and he roots for both. And he watches on how we respond to loss or to victory. Because you
mhm,
could be a bad loser, you could be a bad winner.
mhm,
So he watches, and that was kind of revelation to me because before that I was assuming that hey, there's no people that believe in God on the other side, and I'm the only one praying in this whole deal.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not true, and I think that falls true too to this whole political thing. There's people on both sides that are praying to God for victory, for their candidate to succeed. And to be honest with you, God's plan is being worked out no matter who's in the office.
Yeah.
And, so it's got to come down to how we respond, whether our candidate wins or our candidate loses.
Mm-hmm.
How do we deal with it? Jesus said that they will know us by our love for each other. So are we gonna step up a little bit and love each other despite our differences, or are we gonna, fall into the trap?
Yeah, we've unfortunately fallen so far from even being civil discourse when it comes to politics.
Yeah.
I always say I miss debating policy, and it's no longer about that. Now it's you're defending somebody if they're racist or if they're not, or any kind of ism. That's it's become personal. It hasn't become about policy, and we need to get back to that. How do we do that? I I couldn't tell you. A lot of it's being amplified, of course, because social media. You know what I mean? Like it's like if I'm debating with you, Wes, and you're sitting right here in front of me, we're more likely going to be cordial with each other because we're right in front of each other. Now, if I'm behind my keyboard and you're 100 miles away, I can say screw you, Wes.
Yeah.
What the hell do you know? You know what I mean? It's much easier to get your keyboard gangster on. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but at the end of the day, we're all Americans,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the health and welfare of the country should take precedence over everything else.
Mm-hmm.
And we should be able to get past that. Like you said, we should be able to, it's okay for us to disagree, and I still respect you, you still respect me,
Mm-hmm.
and we're still Americans. And if we look at, all the things that, everyone believes in and what they disagree on, there's actually more things that they agree on than they disagree on.
Mm-hmm.
By just focusing on the disagreements, and there's a lot of anger, which is crazy. The country will survive. At least I pray and I hope. But if it doesn't, and if something happens, then I have to believe that's in God's plan, and that He's working this thing out, and we're just gonna have to put our trust in Him.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, His wisdom is way beyond ours.
Absolutely.
And I do believe everything happens for a reason. Like you
Absolutely.
said, if things go the wrong way, they were meant to go the wrong way. And then we'll see someday when we're there, kneeling before Him. Hopefully, He'll say, "Hey, this is why."
Exactly.
This is why this happened.
We'll be like, "Oh, see the plan now," and you'll be like, now I see it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. But Wes, I'm gonna bring on Cory. We're gonna talk some football. Can you stay on?
Oh yeah.
All right. I'm gonna cut the commercial, and I'm gonna bring on Cory Bet.
All right.
Give me a second here. Welcome back, and this doesn't look right, so hold on, let me fix that.
Salute the coaching staff. What up, fellas?
There we go.
Cory?
That's better.
Much. How we doing?
How's it going, Cory?
Good, man. Good alive.
Oh man, I was getting a bad connection there. Try to say something.
What's up? How we doing, fellas?
I can't hear you too good at all.
I can hear.
I turn the volume.
Now there you go. Now it's perfect.
I'm about to start screaming.
Now it's perfect. So, Corey, you had an interesting week there. What you go 1-2 last week?
Yeah, I picked that Coach West. I picked that Green Bay game.
Oh,
You watched that game?
I did.
Oh, hey, you know what? Before we get started, for those of you watching who don't know, Corey used to actually play for me and Wes back in the day. You know,
Yeah, that's
so
my QB.
Yeah,
we're showing our age now.
yeah. Got that. Yo, Coach West, we should have stayed in the shotgun back in the day, Coach Felix. We should have been in the shotgun.
Yeah, I agree.
Well, I always tell the story, right? There was one year, and Corey, you might have been like 10 or 11 years old. I don't even remember. And we had lost a playoff game. And Wes, I think you were either coaching the older guys or you were. I know you weren't there that year, but it was a playoff game. We lost. It was a good game. It was a good close game. We were getting blown out at first. We made a good run at the end, but we lost. And then all the parents were coming up to me, great season, typical stuff at the end of the season. I'm shaking everybody's hand. This little old lady comes up to me, right? And I was waiting for her to say, something along the same lines. And she just goes, "You lost this game for us. You you should have been throwing from the beginning." And come to find out it was Corey's grandma, and it was funny that, all I could say to her was, "You know what? You're right. I should
So,
have started throwing the ball earlier."
oh man, that story's classic, man. Yeah,
Yeah, but the good old days, the good old days. But hey,
Yeah.
before we get into your picks, I'm gonna get into my Power Five, which I love doing lately, because we all know who's number one. One moment, there we go.
so he does.
Do I
Pittsburgh.
get a do I get a drum roll? No.
This is his, yeah, him and Notre Dame.
Yes, there they are, folks, sitting on top of the world. My Pittsburgh Steelers at 10-0. And they got there with another dominant win over the Jags, 4 interceptions by the defense, and Claypool making his case for rookie of the year. First rookie ever to go 10 games with 10 touchdowns. Unbelievable. And then sitting at number 2, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. They're at 9-1. They escaped with a victory over the Raiders. McComey found Kelsey in the in front of the end zone with 28 seconds left. And I don't know if you guys saw that game. There was nobody within 10 yards. How do you not leave that guy? How do you not cover that guy in that situation? He's arguably the best tight end to ever play the game. You know what I mean? He's in the conversation. Clutch time. McCombie's going to be looking for him. I don't get how he just wanders into the end zone by himself. But anyway, New
Covered.
Orleans Saints, I got at number 3. They finished at 8-2. Jameis Winston, what happened to him? Right? They kept him on the bench, and they brought in Trace Hill, and he played good. I mean, he didn't throw any touchdowns, but he ran for 2 touchdowns, and they beat up on the Falcons 24-9. Number 4, I got the L.A. Rams. Jordan Fuller, 2 picks off of Tom Brady, including one in the clutch there at the end. I know I was watching the game. You're so used to watching Tom Brady come through in these moments, so to see him throw a pick in that situation, I was like, wow. But he did. He is human. And at number 5, the Seattle Seahawks. Russell Wilson with a big rebound game here, much to the dismay of Cory Bet. But he picked yesterday to rebound, and he did so in a big way. He just reminded everybody that, hey, he's Russell Wilson. He's Russell Wilson. And I got my 2 honorable mentions. I'm going to give it to the Colts, who are at 7-3, who beat the Green Bay Packers. That I didn't see coming, and also the Tennessee Titans sitting at 7-3. Those are my top 5. What do you guys think about those? We can all agree number 1.
Boy, Tom Brady, you got off there fast.
Yeah,
No,
he made. They were Tampa Bay was on there. Now they're off. I mean,
it's just another example of 2020, man. That you got the Steelers sitting up top and the Pats are nowhere to be found in there.
hey,
It's another example.
I'll take it.
Yeah.
I'll take it as long as if we can find a way to 7. First, because I used to like saying, "Hey, got 6." You know what I mean? And all of a sudden, Patriots had 3. Then they had 4. Then they had 5. and,
Yeah.
and now they're sitting right there with us. So we gotta elevate to 7th first.
Steelers always been consistently good though, so I'll give it to y'all.
Yeah, no, it's a great organization. They got a
You know how to draft, man.
real good system. They draft really well. They never give the head coaches. I mean, they've had 3 head coaches since 1970.
No, that's
You know what I
amazing.
mean? That's insane. That's consistency. But they never give those head coaches too much power, and I don't know if that's the reason. You know what I mean? Because they're not even allowed, I guess, to hire their own assistant coaches. You know what I mean? The Steelers like micromanage all that stuff. But whatever the formula is, it works because obviously hopefully they're going for their 7th ring right now.
Yeah, it's a business from top to bottom. So,
Yes, sir. So Corey,
let's talk.
I got your 3 games here. So
Mm-hmm.
let's see what you got. We'll put the first one up and you can tell me what you think.
Yeah, at this point, I'm just throwing darts at the board now.
The Buffalo Bills against the Chargers.
Buffalo Bills, yeah. Who they just played last game?
The Bills.
They just played bye week, right?
Oh, they had a bye week. Yeah, they had a bye week.
Yeah, so I got LA coming to the East Coast. They just coming off a close win. I don't think they covered against the Jets, so I wasn't too impressed with that game. Buffalo should be rested. I mean, it opened up at 6.5. That's less than a touchdown to 5.5. So 6 points is a juicy spot, So it's not much. You have to kick an extra point. So 5.5 is good. So I'll take the Buffalo Bills at home. They was in your top 5.
They were, and I mean they're a good team.
So I know they're pretty.
Hold on, did he disappear on me again? Hold on.
Yeah, he did.
Corey, if you can hear me, call back. He's not in the green room either.
Hey, Lord.
But that oh, there he is. Hold on.
There he is.
Can you hear us, Corey? There you go.
2020, Coach West.
Yeah, I'm telling you.
But I was saying the Bills, they're a good team. Josh Allen seems a little up and down in these big situations, so I guess it depends on how he's gonna play. And they're gonna feel some pressure because Miami's right on their ass now. You know what I mean? But even though Miami lost last week too, actually Buffalo, by sitting out on that bye week, everybody in the division lost.
Yeah, that'll be the playoff game.
It could be. There's an extra team this year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, everybody gets 7. I mean, both conferences get 7, so that's going to be interesting. So who were you taking there? We got cut off.
Oh, the Bills, definitely. I think it's -5.5 now. It's going down, so by Sunday, I don't want your boy to hit us up. But like, yo.
They love doing that on my page. They nitpick on everything.
Nah, that's all love, though.
But let's see. And the next game you got is actually a Turkey Day game, right?
I had to pick a Turkey game. Yeah, I wanted to take those Baltimore Ravens, but I'll slow down. I'll take when I was a kid growing up, like even the CF Panther days where you was talking about, I always saw the Lions on TV playing the Packers. So Texans, I don't really see much on TV. So I'm going with the old pick here, the Detroit Lions. They're underdogs at home. There's a lot of COVID going on, so I don't know who's in and out of the lineups now. I don't know if Stafford's in the lineup he should play. But I don't see them losing at home. I still like their coach, Patricia. I don't know what you think about him, fellas. He's a good coach.
Yeah, he's not bad. I just honestly I like the Texans. I think they're much better than their record showed. I mean, they beat the Patriots last week, and Watson he's underrated.
Yep.
You see him that touchdown he scored. He was like a back. He's like
I recorded
might be a Corey running in the end zone over there.
Exactly. I recorded that and I sent it to Ty Law, and I told him, your boy just got ran over, because he trucked McCourty. It was
Yeah.
on that. I don't know if McCourty was waiting for him to slide or whatever, but he put that shoulder down. And not only did he run him over, after he ran him over, he flexed on him too. I don't know if you if you saw that, but it's always nice to see the quarterbacks get one on the defenders like that.
On the road, NFL as favorite too. Coach cut you off. It's tough. It's a tough bet. You know what I mean? It's even like you said, any Sunday. You know, it's not easy.
Yeah,
So
I think Detroit does well on Thanksgiving, if I remember correctly. I think they usually do pretty good.
Yeah, they're gonna be a sneaky.
Yeah, and plus the short week, so who knows what's going to happen there. All right, let's go on to the next one: the Vikings and the Panthers. What do you got, Corey?
PJ Walker, you see that show the other day? That was pretty. That was fun to watch. I don't know if you guys caught any highlights of that game, but they're going with Vikings just lost to Dallas, so that's kind of a low blow for them boys. So I'm thinking, you know, it's going to be a focus week. I don't know if Thielen's going to play. Any news about that? Any injuries or COVID?
I'm not sure.
If the Vikings are fully, they got Dalvin Cook. I mean, he's a machine. He's been eating all year. I don't know how they stop him. The spread's under a touchdown too, so they're coming off a bad L at home. I can't see them losing. So Vikings would be a good bet for me at this spot because last game was impressive. I mean, you see the rookie we talked about, Justin Jefferson. I mean, he's on my fantasy team, but he's just improving too. He's just like the Diggs from the past. So with Thielen and Cook, so I think it's a good spot. Talk to me. What do you guys think?
I can see that. I like Cook. Cook is a monster.
He's a ball.
I've been disappointed in Bridgewater. I thought he'd be better this year. You know what I mean? I honestly, they should have kept Cam Newton the way it's looking. You know what I mean?
That's his own team. So, Bridgewater used to play for the Vikings.
Yep.
After I think so. It's a big game, you know. So I don't know.
It should be good. Who do you guys? I mean, we're going into the 12th week here. Who do you think is sticking out as league MVP? I mean, obviously we got Mahomes, who's. I mean, is there even an argument that he has to be the best quarterback in the league?
He's ridiculous.
I mean, the way his running, his passing, he does it all. His decision making, he just doesn't make mistakes.
Yeah, you know, I think it's going to come down to these last few games, you know, because, you know, I mean, not for nothing, but Russell Wilson's playing good.
Yeah, he had a little dry spell. Me and Corey were talking about last week. He had a few games where he, you know, but I think he was trying too much because the defense there is so bad. So I think it forces him to try to overcompensate, and he was making some mistakes. But he definitely bounced back this week.
Yeah.
That's
But I like,
you know, he's not an MVP pick, but my man from Arizona, he's balling this year.
Kyler Murray, yes, yeah, he's playing well. And again, me and Corey were talking last week. There's a lot of great young quarterbacks coming up. You know what I mean? Kyler Murray, Lamar Jackson, the Hebert dude in the Chargers. I mean, I'd expect him to play as well as he's playing already. Tua in Miami, he just had his first loss last week.
Yeah, a lot of rookies stepping up.
I mean, a lot of young quarterbacks looking good, which is great for football, obviously. And I guess it's a good thing that the NFL be babying these quarterbacks too. I mean, you can't put a hand on these guys. I mean, I'm obviously a Steelers fan. The past 2 or 3 weeks, there's been like 3 roughing the passer calls, which I thought were ridiculous. They were not favor, you know what I mean? But they barely put a finger on Ben, and they called it. And you know, I'll take it, of course. But I guess I see why they do it. You know, nobody wants to see a $40 million a year dollar guy on the, you know, on the ground.
You watched the game last night? Hey, the Rams were getting after Tom Brady.
Yeah, they were. They were
getting after him.
Yeah, Donald was all over him. And you know, speaking of injuries, Burrow, he's done for the year. Torn ACL, torn MCL.
He was playing really well.
He was on his way to break some rookie records. You know what I mean? That's unfortunate, but I don't know.
Let me say too, because that was crazy how you mentioned that. Like, did you see any running back catch a football past the West?
Nah.
There was nobody catching the ball. I've seen Ronald Jones had like 3 drops. Leonard Fournette had 2 drops. That offense Brady's in right now, it looks explosive at times, but I don't know, man. It'd be tough sometimes because, like, he had James White in New England. He had that. They got McCoy on the bench. What's LaShawn McCoy doing? Anybody know?
Yeah,
I don't know. And with the addition too of Antonio Brown there, that's got to, him and Evans. Maybe it's going to take a little while for them to find their own little niches and who gets the ball when or where. But that's a dangerous combo. But you're right that they need somebody out of the backfield maybe to. I'm sorry, what?
The brick hands. I'm just saying the running backs, they can't catch for nothing. You got to help their quarterback.
Oh yeah.
I swear to God, I was watching that game. Like, you brought it out. I watched the whole game. Yo, dude, I think he caught 1 pass. Ronald Jones, like four. I was like, wow.
Yeah.
Well, they're gonna be. It's gonna be interesting coming down the stretch. I see Seattle should be pulling away soon because I was looking at their next 4 or 5 games. They got no. I mean, they're gonna get fat off the NFC East. I think they play them the next 3 games. You know what I mean? And that division is hard. That we were talking about Dallas earlier. Dallas is 3-7, and they're a half a game out of first place.
Yeah, teams gonna make the playoffs with a losing record.
The Eagles are 2-6-1, and it's sitting in first place. That's embarrassing.
Who wins, Dallas or Redskins on Thanksgiving?
I think Dallas is gonna win.
Yeah, Dallas is loaded. I mean, before the season started, obviously when Dak was there, and with the draft that they had, bringing in that wide receiver Lamb, I was like, wow, that offense is going to be tough to stop. But they've been, and the owner there must be going nuts because he's so involved in everything. And he's got the same situation going on like Al Davis with the Raiders. You know what I mean? Those guys need to learn just to sit back, watch, and enjoy. But you know what? He's the one putting up the money. Let him play with his toy, I guess. You know what I mean? But he's suffering the consequences for it.
He's making money.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, merchandising wise, Dallas is usually number 1. They got a huge fan base. So Lord knows how much money he's bringing in there. But hey, any final thoughts around the NFL?
Hey, I'm just keeping the hope that the Pats somehow turn this thing around, man.
You think they got a shot at making the playoffs?
Something. They need to get some confidence. They need some luck or something, man, because this is not going for them. They ain't making the playoffs.
No.
I get a pass. You get a pass from me, so you lost the goal, man.
So here's a question for you guys: Where do they go after this? What needs? What do you bring? Do you bring back Cam Newton?
I say you do, but I'm hoping that they lose a few more games so they can get a higher draft pick. They need to draft quarterback. And there's some good quarterbacks in college right now that they could bring in, and then tutor him under Cam for 1 year. At least you got Cam to kind of help bridge that gap a little bit, But you gotta look for a younger, newer, talent to come in. You gotta.
Yeah, I mean he doesn't have any weapons there either. You know what I mean? And
that's why Brady.
Obviously, he's not Tom Brady, so.
I mean, and that's why Brady left. He ain't had no weapons. They haven't gotten him weapons in years, and they still
go for it. No draft. What they needed to do is go to the Pittsburgh's GM or whoever drafts for them, pay him double, got to recruit him. We get a better drafter because our draft has been
the Steelers
horrible.
Especially receivers. The Steelers don't miss on receivers. It's amazing if you look back over the years, the receivers that go through Pittsburgh, and they get them late usually. Even Claypool, he was a steal in the second round. I was shocked when he was still there. You know what I mean? When they got him, I was like, wow, that's huge. I'm a Notre Dame fan, so I know what he can do. I was shocked that he was still sitting there for them.
Yeah, but you sit up in the stands looking at these athletes. You see who Michael Thomas was drafted in the second round. Alvin Kamara in the third. You're sitting there like, no, we don't want them. No, we're just going to trade back. Like, what are you doing? You're letting all the talent go by year, generational talent. Like, you got a first-round pick. Take it. Don't take it. You had 2 first-round picks, and what do you have to show for it? Always hurt.
Exactly. You know why? Because they don't want to pay nobody. That's why. So they trade back so they can get the lower draft.
Yeah. I hear you. But before they go into their next Expect you to get them now when they're young, hungry, eating, and then business is business. But that's what I think they need.
The knock on my Steelers is they don't like paying people that second and third contract. You know what I mean? So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with like Juju Smith, whose contract is going to be coming up soon.
I tell you, man, he's tough to get rid of him. Man.
He's so young. I mean, he just turned 24. He's been in the league for 3 years. You know,
Who's
know
that?
what I mean? Juju Smith.
Oh, Juju. Yeah.
When he came into the NFL, he was the youngest player, and I mean, I don't know how you get rid of him, but then you got Deontay Johnson, who seems to be taking over the number one spot there more consistently.
Well, they got rid of the best running back in the league.
Oh, Bell.
Yeah.
Yeah. They didn't want to, and they actually offered him decent money. I was surprised he left. There wasn't that much difference between what the Jets offered. I mean, he knew what he had at Pittsburgh. I don't understand, and then when you take into the fact the cost of living in New York, you know what I mean, versus in Pittsburgh, I was surprised he left. And, he obviously is proven wrong now because he went to the Jets and did absolutely nothing besides he made a rap album. I don't know how many millions he dumped into that. You know what I mean? Hopefully he didn't spend too much, but now he's over at KC, which that's going to make for an interesting story because those two could collide in the playoffs. You know what I mean? So we'll see what they do there, but it's going to be interesting. I mean, we still got a ways to go. I think that extra playoff spot was a good idea. You know what I mean? I wish it would have happened 2 years ago because Steelers would have been in the playoffs last year and the year before that. You know what I mean? They missed both times of, finishing in the 7th seed. So now they finally added to it. I think it's good for football. It'll be fun.
So Felix, let me ask you this: do you think they'll go undefeated?
It's tough. To me, it's not a goal. I mean, it's nice if they do it. You know what I mean? But at the same time, and you know this, you know this well, actually. Sometimes that loss wakes you up. You know what I mean? In the regular season, and the way I look at it, I'm worried about this game here against the Ravens because it's going to be a physical game. It's a division game. They know each other well. So you can't never overlook division games. They still have another game with the Browns, which is going to be later on in the season. And at that point, the Browns are 7-3, so they're going to be fighting for a playoff spot. You know what I mean? So, I mean, I know we blew both of them out. Actually, no, we didn't blow out the Ravens. Ravens came back and made a good game of that and almost won at the last play. My bad. But we beat both of them already. Doesn't mean we're going to beat them again, obviously. So those two games. They played the Colts, I think, and I think they got the Bills also. So there's a bunch of games left that they could lose, and KC's only 9-1. So you go on a 2-game losing streak, you find yourself without a bye week. You know what I mean? So we shall see. What do you guys think? Undefeated? I know you're hoping that.
That's tough, man. As you know, it's extremely high, which is why teams don't do it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just hard. One of the things I was saying, there's always that game in a season when you're making a run, right? There's always that game in a season where you're better than the football team. You should win the game, but everything goes wrong for you in that game.
Yeah.
Most teams lose those games during the course of a season.
Mm-hmm.
Very few overcome those holes when you fall into that trap.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I mean, Pittsburgh will get that game. It's just a matter of will they be able to bust it out?
Yeah, I think they've had a couple of those games early on against the Giants and against Dallas. They played horrible against Dallas, but I guess Dallas is Dallas this year, so we pulled off the W.
I think they could. I think they're the most complete football team I've seen so far. They got defense, offense. It's just they're rock solid.
The offense, the defense, I'm loving. The defense looks great. The offense, they scare me a little bit. I'm going to tell you why. They don't run the ball as good as I'd like to see. You know what I mean? I think, for those games, because sometimes your quarterback could be off. You need that balance, and I don't think it's where it should be. I would love to see their run game be a little better. I mean, they did nothing. They didn't run anything against Dallas. They didn't run anything Who was the other game? Not Jacksonville. The game before Jacksonville. Either way, the past few weeks they haven't run the ball well at all, and I think they need to focus on that. So we'll see. We'll see what happens.
Ben ain't a young man. You know, he can't go chucking the ball around.
No, he's looking good though. You know what? I'm gonna put him in the MVP conversation because he's looking real good.
Yeah, undefeated team. Why not? Somebody got to
be. Can't say anything about it, man. They haven't lost a game.
Exactly. But fellas, thanks for coming on. This was great. I'm gonna say goodbye to you guys and then sign off the show. I'm sure we'll do this again shortly. And thanks again.
All right, we'll see you. Nice seeing you, Cory.
You too.
Well, folks, thanks for joining us this week. Hope you had a blast. It's crazy the way the NFL season is going. I know I'm enjoying it. Hope you're enjoying it too. What's even more crazier is the selection cycle here. Hopefully, when I come back next week, we have a clearer picture for you. Hopefully, Trump is making some headway in the courts because we need another 4 years of a Donald Trump. We don't need another 4 years. We don't need anything from the basement dweller there. That being said, thanks for joining me. God bless. And I will see you next week.